My son's revenge on his stepmother left her speechless. After my divorce, I shared custody of my 8-year-old son, Milo, with my ex-wife. We had a good system. Weekdays with her near school, weekends with me. Then I met Rebecca at a work function. Rebecca seemed genuinely excited about becoming part of our lives. At first, her interest in Milo seemed like a blessing. She'd help with homework, buy him clothes, and rearrange his bedroom to be more functional. But warning signs appeared. Rebecca would criticize how my ex-wife dressed Milo, saying, "I can't believe she sends him in those cheap sneakers." She'd rewash clothes that came from his mom's house, claiming they smelled weird. Everything changed when Milo brought over his baseball card collection. Cards his grandfather had given him before passing away last year. They weren't valuable, but they meant the world to him. One weekend, Milo couldn't find them. When he asked Rebecca, she shrugged and said, "Oh, that clutter. I tossed it during spring cleaning. They were just taking up space." I found Milo crying in his room. When I confronted Rebecca, she was unapologetic. "He needs to learn about minimalism. Those cards were collecting dust. Besides, he needs to move on from the past." Against my better judgment, we got married 6 months later. Rebecca moved in and immediately established house rules that only applied when Milo visited. She'd remove family photos that included my ex-wife and schedule adult dinner parties during Milo's weekends. The worst part was overhearing her phone calls. "I'll be free next weekend once the kid leaves, or just 3 more days until it's quiet again." She never said these things around me, but Milo heard them. I noticed him becoming quieter, asking to stay with his mom more often. When I tried discussing it with Rebecca, she'd turn it around. "I'm trying so hard with him, but he resists everything. Do you know how difficult it is to be a stepmother to a child who doesn't want you?" On Milo's 12th birthday, Rebecca insisted we have a sophisticated celebration at an expensive restaurant. She invited several of her friends, claiming she wanted to show Milo how adults celebrate. What struck me as odd was Milo's reaction. He seemed unusually excited about this formal party. Typically, he'd have preferred pizza and arcade games with his friends. At the restaurant, Rebecca was in her element, introducing Milo as our son to everyone. She ordered for him without asking and kept fixing his collar for photos. When the elaborate birthday cake arrived, Rebecca stood to make a speech. "I want to thank everyone for coming to celebrate Milo's special day," she began. "Becoming a stepmother was never in my plans, but watching this young man grow under my guidance has been rewarding. I like to think I've really shaped him these past 2 years." Milo smiled politely throughout her speech. When she finished, he pulled out his new phone. "The birthday gift from his mother and me. I have something to share too," he said quietly. He tapped the screen a few times, and suddenly, everyone's phones at the table chimed with an airdrop notification. One by one, guests looked down at their screens. I watched as expressions changed from curiosity to discomfort. I looked at my own screen and felt my stomach drop. There were screenshots of Rebecca's text messages to her sister. "Can't wait until the brat is gone Sunday. I'm working on convincing my husband that we need our summers to be child-free. And most disturbingly, his dad doesn't suspect a thing." The timestamp showed some messages from yesterday. "Dreading this birthday charade tomorrow, but at least my friends will see. I'm trying." As Rebecca's face drained of color, she grabbed for her phone. "These are private. How did you?" Milo's voice was calm in the stunned silence. "Dad gave me my first phone today. But remember before dinner when you let me borrow your iPad to play games? Did you know everything syncs to your iCloud account?" He turned to me. "Dad, I saved the ones where she talks about trying to sell our house without telling you too." Rebecca stood up, knocking over her water glass. "This is completely inappropriate. James, we need to leave now." I stayed seated. Milo pulled out a folded paper from his jacket. "There's one more thing, Dad. Mom's lawyer found this last week." He slid it across the table. It was a quitclaim deed with my forged signature, transferring my house to Rebecca's name. Dated 3 months ago. "That's not real. He's lying," Rebecca stammered. But I recognized the notary stamp. It was her cousin's. The same cousin sitting 2 seats down, who suddenly wouldn't make eye contact. Rebecca lunged for the document just as restaurant security appeared at our table. The manager, a woman in her 50s with sharp eyes, positioned herself between Rebecca and the table. "Ma'am, several guests have complained. I'm going to need you to step back." Rebecca's hands were shaking. "This is a family matter. Tell them, James. Tell them this is just a misunderstanding." I couldn't speak. My eyes were locked on the quitclaim deed. My signature looked perfect. Too perfect. I'd signed dozens of documents during our marriage. Refinancing papers, insurance forms, school enrollment for Milo. Had she been practicing? "Dad." Milo's voice cut through my shock. "The cousin. Right there. That's who notarized it." The cousin, a man in his mid-30s wearing an ill-fitting suit, stood up so fast his chair fell backward. "I need to leave. Right now." One of the security guards blocked the exit. "Sir, please return to your seat." "I didn't do anything wrong," the cousin said, but his voice cracked. "This is between them." Rebecca whirled on him. "Kenny, shut up. Don't say another word." But Kenny was already unraveling. "She paid me $5,000. I didn't ask questions. She said it was just paperwork for their house, that James knew about it but couldn't get to a notary because of his work schedule." "You just admitted to notary fraud," said a voice from the next table. A man in his 60s, eating alone, held up his phone. "I'm an attorney, and I recorded that. You notarized a document without verifying the signature or the signer's identity." Rebecca's friends were gathering their things. One woman, who'd arrived with an expensive purse and too much perfume, leaned toward Rebecca. "I cannot believe you invited us to this. Do you know what this does to my reputation?" "Claudia, wait," Rebecca started. "Don't contact me again," Claudia snapped. She and 3 other women left together, their heels clicking rapidly toward the exit. The manager pulled out her phone. "I'm calling the police. This is beyond what we can handle." "No," Rebecca said. "No police. This is a family matter. James, please, can we just go home and talk about this?" I finally found my voice. "How long have you been planning this?" "Planning what?" "I haven't. The deed is dated 3 months ago, Rebecca. 3 months. You forged my signature. You had your cousin commit a crime. How long?" She sat down heavily, her performance dropping away. For just a moment, I saw something cold and calculating in her eyes. Then the tears started. "I was going to tell you. I wanted security. You don't understand what it's like being a stepmother. No one appreciates what I do." "You were going to steal his house," Milo said. His voice was steady, but I could see his hands trembling. "You told Aunt Linda you were going to sell it and move to Arizona. That dad would never know until it was too late." Rebecca's head snapped toward him. "You little psychopath. You set this up. You planned this whole thing." "Ma'am," the security guard said, "the police are on their way. I need you to remain calm." The next 20 minutes felt like hours. Other diners were recording on their phones. I could see the flashes going off. The birthday cake sat untouched, its 12 candles burnt down to nothing. 2 police officers arrived. A woman in her 40s and a younger man, both looking like they'd rather be anywhere else. The manager briefed them quickly, showing them something on her phone. "Sir, I'm Officer Delgado," the woman said to me. "Can you tell us what's happening here?" I explained as clearly as I could. The forged deed, the confession from Kenny the notary, the text messages Milo had exposed. Through it all, Rebecca sat perfectly still, mascara running down her face. Officer Delgado examined the quitclaim deed. "This is a forgery?" "I never signed that document," I said. "I never authorized any transfer of my property." "He's lying," Rebecca said. "He signed it, he just doesn't remember, he was drunk." "The date on the deed is March 15th, I said. "I was in Chicago for work. I have hotel receipts, flight records, meeting schedules. I wasn't even in the state." Officer Delgado's expression hardened. "Ma'am, we're going to need to take a statement from you at the station." "Am I under arrest?" "Not yet, but we need to investigate this. We also need to seize your phone as evidence." "My phone? No, absolutely not." "Ma'am, if this is a criminal matter, your phone could contain relevant evidence. Text messages, emails, call logs. You can refuse, but then we'll have to." "Fine," Rebecca spat. "Take it, but you won't find anything because I haven't done anything wrong." Officer Delgado took Rebecca's phone and handed it to her partner, who placed it in an evidence bag. "Password?" Rebecca recited numbers through gritted teeth. "We're also going to need to speak with you, sir," Officer Delgado said, turning to Kenny. He looked like he was going to be sick. "I want a lawyer." "That's your right. You're not under arrest, but we do need your statement about the notarization." Kenny shook his head and walked out with the officers. Rebecca followed, glancing back at me once. The look she gave me was pure hatred. After they left, the restaurant fell into awkward silence. The manager apologized profusely and said our meal was complimentary. Milo and I sat alone at the table, surrounded by half-empty wine glasses and abandoned plates. "Are you mad at me?" Milo asked quietly. I pulled him into a hug. "No, I'm not mad. I don't know what I am. Mom said we had to do something." Rebecca was getting worse. She was planning something big. "Your mom knew about this?" Milo nodded. "She's outside. She didn't want to come in unless something went wrong." I found my ex-wife Tessa sitting in her car in the parking lot. She got out when she saw us, her face tense. "Is Milo okay?" "He's fine. We need to talk." We sat at a coffee shop down the street while Milo got hot chocolate. Tessa explained everything. How Milo had been coming home from my house upset for months. How he'd started noticing things. Rebecca going through my papers. Phone calls where she mentioned money and houses and getting rid of problems. "He came to me 6 weeks ago," Tessa said. "Told me something was wrong. that Rebecca was planning something. I didn't want to believe it at first. I thought maybe he was just adjusting badly to having a stepmother. But then he showed me some text messages he'd seen on her iPad. Stuff about refinancing and property transfers. I have a friend who's a paralegal. She looked into it. Found out Rebecca had been shopping around for crooked notaries. Found Kenny through some real estate forum. You've known for 6 weeks? We needed proof, James. Real proof. My husband knows a private investigator. We've been building a case. Your husband? Alan knows about this? She nodded. He's a lawyer, remember? He pulled some strings. Got us access to property records. That's how we found the deed. It was already filed. Your house is technically in her name right now. My stomach dropped. What? It's fraudulent, so it'll be reversed. But she moved fast. Filed it 3 months ago. You never got any notification because she changed the mailing address on the property records to a P.O. box she controls. I couldn't process this. Why didn't you tell me? Because we needed her to think she was getting away with it. The best evidence is when criminals think they're safe. Rebecca's been texting her sister almost daily. We have all of it. Backing up to Alan's secure server through Milo's phone. Milo's been spying for you? Milo's been protecting you. And himself. I looked over at my son, carefully building a pyramid out of sugar packets. He was 12 years old. He should have been worried about video games and homework, not corporate espionage. There's more, Tessa said. She pulled out a folder from her bag. Alan's investigator found additional evidence. Rebecca's done this before. Inside the folder were printouts, court records, a divorce filing from 6 years ago in Nevada. Rebecca's maiden name was different than what she'd told me. She'd been married to a man named Gordon Fisher. He'd owned a successful electronics store. Read the divorce settlement, Tessa said. I scanned the document. Gordon Fisher had accused Rebecca of forgery and theft, claimed she'd taken out loans in his name, forged checks, transferred money from business accounts. The case had been settled out of court. Rebecca walked away with $200,000 and an NDA. How did you find this? Public records. Rebecca's been careful, but not careful enough. She used her real social security number on your marriage license. Alan's investigator traced it back. Who else has she done this to? At least 2 other men we found. Both similar patterns. Dates someone with assets. Marries quickly. Starts isolating them. Forges documents. Disappears with money. Tessa leaned forward. James, she's a professional con artist. This is what she does. My phone buzzed. Unknown number, I answered. Mr. Harrington, this is Detective Ruiz with the Financial Crimes Unit. We've been reviewing the evidence from tonight. We need you to come down to the station tomorrow morning. Bring any financial documents you have. Bank statements, property records, credit reports, everything. What did you find? I can't discuss specifics over the phone, but I'll tell you this. Your wife's phone had a lot of interesting information. Apps she thought were deleted. Text messages with multiple people, email accounts you probably don't know about. I went home that night to a house that didn't feel like mine. Rebecca's things were everywhere. Her shoes by the door, her coffee cup in the sink, her bathrobe hanging on the bedroom door. I called a locksmith. He came at midnight, changed every lock. Cost me $400 cash, but I didn't care. I took every piece of mail I could find and drove to Tessa's house. She and Alan were waiting up. Alan spread everything on his dining room table. Bank statements going back 3 years. Credit card bills, property tax records, utility statements. We worked until 4 in the morning. What we found made me sick. Rebecca had opened 3 credit cards in my name. Total debt, $47,000. She'd taken out a home equity line of credit, $85,000 borrowed, most of it already spent. She'd changed the beneficiary on my life insurance policy. Removed my mother, added herself. She'd listed herself as a co-owner on my investment accounts. My 401k had been drained by half. Early withdrawal. Signed with my forged signature. When did she access your 401k? Alan asked. I checked the paperwork. Last month. I never saw this. Because it was mailed to that P.O. box, Tessa said. She intercepted everything. The total came to $182,000. Stolen, forged, or borrowed fraudulently. She's been planning this for 2 years, Alan said. Since before you got married. Look at this. He showed me a printout of Rebecca's email. A conversation with a real estate agent from 14 months ago. Asking about property values in my neighborhood, what houses were selling for, how fast the market was moving. Another email from 11 months ago. Rebecca asking about Costa Rica, specifically, about cities with no extradition treaty with the United States. About opening bank accounts. About residency requirements. She was going to run, I said. She probably still will, Alan replied. If she makes bail. I didn't sleep that night. At 8 a.m., I was at the police station. Detective Ruiz was a man in his 50s with tired eyes and a wedding ring that looked like it had been there for decades. "Mr. Harrington, thank you for coming. Have a seat." He laid out what they'd found on Rebecca's phone. There were 3 deleted email accounts. Rebecca had thought deleting the apps would erase the data, but IT forensics had recovered everything. Email account 1. Communications with 5 different realtors about selling my house. Rebecca had been getting quotes, staging advice, asking about contingencies if the owner didn't know about the sale. Email account 2. Correspondence with her sister Linda and 2 friends. Detailed plans about moving to Costa Rica. Talk about plastic surgery to change her appearance. Conversations about how to hide money from authorities. Email account 3. The one that made Detective Ruiz's jaw tight. Messages with another man. Someone named Grant. They'd been together for 3 years. She'd been engaged to him. He didn't know she was married to me. She'd told Grant she was divorced, that she was closing on a house sale, that they'd start their life together in the spring. 3 years? I said. The messages go back 37 months. She's been dating this man the entire time she's been with you, including through your wedding. There were photos attached to the emails. Rebecca and Grant on vacation, at restaurants, in bed together. Timestamps showed some were taken during weekends when Milo was at my house and Rebecca claimed she was visiting her sick mother. "We contacted Grant this morning," Detective Ruiz said. "He's devastated. Had no idea Rebecca was married. She'd shown him photos of your house, told him she owned it, that she was a widow. He actually gave her $35,000 for what he thought was a down payment on a business they'd start together. Where's that money? Gone. Transferred to an offshore account 2 weeks ago. Detective Ruiz showed me more. Rebecca had taken out a loan against my car. Forged my signature. $15,000. The car was technically collateral for a debt I didn't know existed. She'd applied for credit cards at stores using my information. Nordstrom, Bloomingdale's, Neiman Marcus. Bought thousands in clothes and jewelry. Sold most of it to consignment shops for cash. She'd contacted my employer's HR department. Tried to change my direct deposit to an account she controlled. HR flagged it as suspicious and called me, but I'd been in meetings all day. They'd emailed me. Rebecca had access to my email. She'd deleted the message and responded, pretending to be me, saying it was a mistake. "Your company's IT department blocked the attempt," Detective Ruiz said. But she tried, 3 times. By the end of the meeting, we'd documented over $300,000 in fraud. Detective Ruiz said the district attorney was reviewing everything. Rebecca would likely face federal charges. Identity theft, wire fraud, forgery, multiple counts. "What happens now?" I asked. "She's in custody. Bail hearing is Monday. Given the flight risk and the offshore accounts, we're recommending she be held without bail. In the meantime, you need to protect yourself financially." I spent the weekend in survival mode. Contacted every bank, every credit card company, every institution Rebecca might have touched. Filed fraud reports, froze my credit, changed passwords on every account, got a new phone number, installed security cameras around my house. Sunday night, my mother called. "James, honey, I just heard about Rebecca. Is it true?" "Yeah, Mom, it's true. But she was so lovely, so charming. Are you sure this isn't a misunderstanding?" "She forged my signature on legal documents and stole $300,000, Mom. It's not a misunderstanding." $300,000? James, no. That can't be right. I have the bank statements, the loan documents, everything. My mother was quiet for a long time. "What about Milo? Is he okay?" "He's the one who figured it out. He's staying with Tessa for now, until I sort out the house situation." That poor boy. To see all this. That poor boy saved me from losing everything. Monday morning, I went to Rebecca's bail hearing. The courtroom was small, painted an institutional beige. Rebecca was brought in wearing orange scrubs. She looked smaller somehow. When she saw me, her expression shifted. For a moment, it was the woman I'd married, soft, vulnerable. Then it hardened. The prosecutor laid out the evidence. The forged documents, the credit card fraud, the offshore accounts, the plan to flee to Costa Rica. Rebecca's public defender, a young woman who looked fresh out of law school, argued that Rebecca had ties to the community, that she wasn't a flight risk. The judge, an older black woman with reading glasses on a chain, flipped through the file. The defendant has multiple fraudulent passports in her possession. 2 airline tickets to Costa Rica scheduled for next Thursday. 1 under her legal name, 1 under an alias. Significant funds have been transferred to foreign accounts. The defendant has a pattern of this behavior spanning 3 prior relationships. The judge looked at Rebecca. "You've shown sophisticated planning, deception, and intent to flee. Bail is denied. Trial date will be set in 30 days. Rebecca's face went white. "Your Honor, please. I have nowhere to go. I'll lose my apartment, my job. Everything. You should have considered that before committing multiple felonies. Bailiff, please remand the defendant to custody. As Rebecca was led out, she caught my eye one last time, mouthed something I couldn't quite make out. Looked like I'm sorry, but could have been you'll be sorry. I didn't stay to find out. Outside the courthouse, I found Grant waiting. He was tall, athletic, looked like he did CrossFit and drank green smoothies. Everything Rebecca had probably told him I wasn't. "You're James?" he said. "Yeah, I'm Grant. I guess we need to talk." We got coffee at a place across the street. Grant explained how they'd met. At a gym 3 years ago. Rebecca had told him she was recently divorced, that her ex-husband had been abusive, that she was rebuilding her life. She showed me photos of her apartment, said it was all she could afford after the divorce. I helped her with rent sometimes, gave her money for her car payment, for her mom's hospital bills. Her mom died 7 years ago, I said. Grant's hands tightened around his coffee cup. She told me her mom had cancer, that the treatments were expensive. I gave her $8,000 last Christmas, said it was for experimental treatment. We compared timelines. While Rebecca was engaged to me, she was also engaged to Grant. When I was on my honeymoon with Rebecca in Cancun, she'd told Grant she was on a work trip to Dallas. When Milo was at my house and Rebecca was supposedly visiting her sick mother, she was actually with Grant at his cabin in Vermont. Did she ever mention a kid? I asked. No, never. I have a 12-year-old son. She was his stepmother. Grant's face fell. She hated kids. Told me that. Said she couldn't have them and didn't want them. That it was a relief. We sat in silence. Two men who'd been played by the same woman. Two men who'd trusted someone who saw us as nothing but targets. The prosecutor said you gave her money for a business, I said. A yoga studio. She said she'd found the perfect location. Had business plans, financial projections. I work in finance, and I still believed her. She was that convincing. What are you going to do? I already filed a police report. Hired a lawyer. I'll probably never see that money again, but at least it's documented. Grant stood up. I'm sorry. For what she did to you. To your son. Not your fault. Still, if I'd been smarter, maybe I could have warned you. After he left, I sat alone at the coffee shop for an hour. Watched people come and go. Couples laughing together. Parents with kids. Normal people living normal lives. I'd thought I was building that. Thought I'd found someone to share my life with. Instead, I'd invited a predator into my home. My phone rang. Tessa. James, you need to see this. Turn on the news. Channel 7. I pulled up the local news on my phone. There was Rebecca's mugshot. A reporter standing outside the courthouse. Alleged con artist Rebecca Harrington was denied bail today after prosecutors revealed a pattern of fraud spanning multiple states. The investigation has now expanded to include federal charges. The reporter detailed the case. My name was mentioned. Milo's name was redacted because he was a minor. They interviewed Grant, who'd apparently stayed to talk to reporters. He was surprisingly articulate about financial fraud and how con artists target vulnerable people. Then they showed the birthday party footage. Someone had posted it online. The video of Milo airdropping the text messages. Rebecca's face going pale. The cousin admitting to notary fraud. It had 200,000 views. 12-year-old exposes evil stepmother was trending on Twitter. My phone started ringing. Unknown numbers. Reporters. I turned it off. That week passed in a blur. I met with lawyers. Filed for an annulment. Found out that in my state, fraudulent marriage can be voided. Rebecca had lied about her past, her identity, her intentions. The marriage was legally null. Alan handled most of the paperwork. He was surprisingly good at this. Efficient, thorough, and he actually seemed to enjoy taking Rebecca apart legally. She made it easy, he said. When you document your crimes in text messages and emails, you're basically doing our job for us. The house deed was voided. My name was restored to the title. The home equity line of credit was reversed. The bank ate the loss because their verification process had failed. The credit cards in my name were closed. The debts were forgiven after I provided evidence of forgery. My credit score took a hit, but the fraud alerts would eventually clear it. My 401k was harder. The company required a court order to reverse the withdrawal. It took 3 weeks and cost me $4,000 in legal fees, but the money was returned. Slowly, painfully, my financial life was restored. The emotional damage took longer. I found myself checking locks obsessively, verifying signatures on documents, running credit reports weekly. Milo noticed. Dad, you're doing that thing again. What thing? The thing where you check the door handle 5 times. I made him see a therapist, a woman named Dr. Chen, who specialized in kids who'd been through trauma. After the 3rd session, she asked to speak with me. Milo's remarkably resilient, she said. He understood what was happening, processed it in real time. Most adults can't do that. Is that good or bad? It's neither. It's just who he is. but he's worried about you. About me? He thinks you blame yourself, that you're angry at him for exposing Rebecca. I'm not angry at him. Have you told him that? I hadn't, not directly. That night, I sat down with Milo. We ordered Chinese food and ate in the living room with the TV off. I'm proud of you, I said. What you did took courage. I'm not mad. I'm not disappointed. I'm grateful. Milo picked at his lo mein. Mom said I should have told you sooner, that I made it worse by waiting. You did exactly what you needed to do. You gathered evidence. You protected yourself. You protected me. But you married her because of me, because you wanted me to have a mom. I married her because I thought I loved her. That's on me, not you. What if you stop trusting people? Then I'll work on it, with a therapist, like you're doing. Milo was quiet for a moment. She really hated me, didn't she? Yes. And you didn't see it? No, I didn't. I should have. I'm sorry. Do you think she would have hurt me, if she'd gotten away with it? The question caught me off guard. I'd wondered the same thing. Rebecca's texts had been cruel, dismissive, calculating. But violent? I don't know. I don't think so. But I'm glad we didn't find out. That night, I let Milo sleep in the guest room instead of driving back to Tessa's. We watched a movie together, some superhero thing with too many explosions. Halfway through, Milo fell asleep on the couch. I covered him with a blanket and just sat there, watching him breathe. 3 weeks later, Rebecca's trial date was set. The prosecutor offered a plea deal. 8 years in prison, full restitution. Rebecca rejected it. She wanted to fight. Her new lawyer was a man named Hutchins. Expensive suit, law degree from Yale, reputation for getting white-collar criminals reduced sentences. He held a press conference. Ms. Harrington has been vilified in the media and on social media. The truth is far more complex. This is a case about a woman trying to protect herself financially in an unstable relationship, about a child who was manipulated by his mother into fabricating evidence, about a man who refuses to take responsibility for his own financial mismanagement. I watched it from my office, felt my blood pressure spike. Alan called immediately. Don't respond. Don't engage. Let him spin whatever story he wants. We have the evidence. He has nothing but theatrics. But the theatrics worked on some people. Rebecca's friends started a social media campaign. Justice for Rebecca. Posts about how she was the real victim, how I was controlling and abusive, how Tessa had poisoned Milo against his stepmother. The posts got traction. Not a lot, but enough. News outlets picked up the story. Con artist or victim, the complicated case of Rebecca Harrington. I was interviewed by a reporter from the local paper, explained the facts, showed her the documents, the forged signatures, the stolen money, the offshore accounts. She wrote a fair piece, but fair didn't matter to people who'd already decided I was the villain. Death threats started showing up in my email. You destroyed that woman's life. I hope your kid gets what's coming to him. Controlling abusers like you make me sick. I reported them to the police. They said there was nothing they could do unless someone made a specific threat. Milo's school found out. Someone posted the birthday party video on Facebook with Milo's full name, his school, his grade. Within hours, his classmates knew everything. Tessa called me at work. You need to come get Milo, now. I drove to his school, found him in the principal's office. He'd been in a fight. His lip was bleeding. His shirt was torn. What happened? The principal, a thin woman with iron gray hair, explained. 3 boys confronted Milo at lunch, called him names, said he destroyed his stepmother's life for attention. Milo told them to stop. They didn't. One of them pushed him. Milo pushed back. And it escalated. Milo hit one of the boys, broke his nose. I looked at Milo. He was staring at the floor. Did he start it? The other boys were verbally aggressive first, but Milo threw the first punch. So he was defending himself. Mr. Harrington, our school has a zero-tolerance policy on violence. Milo is suspended for 3 days. What about the boys who attacked him? They're also suspended. I took Milo home, cleaned up his lip, got him ice for his bruised knuckles. He didn't say anything for an hour, just sat on the couch staring at the TV without watching it. You want to talk about it? I finally asked. They said you forced Rebecca to steal the money, that you made her do it so you could frame her and get custody of me. You know that's not true. I know, but they believed it. Everyone believes it. All my friends think I'm a liar. They'll see the truth eventually. When? At the trial? That's months away. He was right. The trial was scheduled for September. It was June. 3 more months of this. We could homeschool you, I said, until this blows over. I don't want to hide. It's not hiding. It's protecting yourself. It feels like hiding. That night, I filed a formal complaint with the school district, cited harassment, requested that Milo be allowed to finish the year remotely. The district agreed. Milo spent the last 2 weeks of 6th grade doing assignments from my dining room table. His baseball team wasn't as understanding. The coach called me on a Wednesday night. "James, we've had some complaints from parents. They're uncomfortable with Milo on the team given everything that's happening." "What complaints?" "They're worried about the environment, the drama. Some of them think Milo lied about his stepmother. He didn't lie. There's documented evidence, police reports, court filings." "I believe you, but these parents are vocal. They're threatening to pull their kids from the team if Milo stays. So you're kicking him off?" "I'm saying it might be better for everyone if Milo took the season off." I hung up without saying goodbye. Told Milo that night. He took it better than I expected. "I didn't want to play anyway," he said. "You love baseball." "I loved it when Grandpa was here to watch. Now it's just a thing I do." The baseball cards. I'd almost forgotten. They were still in evidence, part of the case against Rebecca, but the police had released photos. I printed one, the 1,987 Donruss Don Mattingly rookie card, mint condition, Milo's favorite, framed it and hung it in his room. "Grandpa would be proud of you," I said. "You think?" "I know." June turned into July. The trial date was moved. Rebecca's lawyer filed motions, requested evidence be suppressed, claimed Milo had obtained the text messages illegally, that the iCloud sync was an invasion of privacy. The judge denied every motion. The defendant used a shared family device. She had no reasonable expectation of privacy. The evidence stands. Rebecca fired her lawyer, hired a new one. This one was a woman named Vickers. She specialized in defending women accused of crimes. Her strategy was different. She didn't deny the fraud. She reframed it. Rebecca Harrington is a survivor of domestic abuse. She was trapped in a controlling relationship with a man who monitored her every move. The offshore accounts? She was planning her escape. The forged documents? She was trying to secure financial independence. The text messages? They're taken out of context. What this case is really about is a woman being punished for trying to leave. Vickers held press conferences, appeared on podcasts, wrote op-eds. The story changed. Rebecca became a sympathetic figure, a woman driven to desperate measures by an abusive husband. My employer called me in. "James, we need to discuss this situation." "What situation?" "The news coverage. It's affecting the company's reputation. Clients are asking questions." "Questions about what?" "About whether we employ someone who's, these are their words, not mine, abusive toward women." "I'm not abusive. Rebecca's lawyer is lying." "I believe you, but perception matters. We need you to take some time off, paid leave, until this settles down." I argued. It didn't matter. They put me on leave anyway, told me to stay home until the trial was over. Without work, the days stretched endlessly. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, lost 15 pounds in 3 weeks. Tessa noticed. "You look terrible." "Thanks. I'm serious. When's the last time you ate a full meal?" I couldn't remember. She started bringing me food, groceries, pre-made meals, anything to keep me functional. Alan came over sometimes, watched sports with me, didn't talk about the case unless I brought it up. "You're being a good ex-husband," I told him once. "You're Milo's dad. That makes you family." August arrived. The trial was scheduled for September 3rd. Jury selection started August 28th. I had to be there every day. The courtroom was different this time. Bigger, more people. Rebecca's family showed up, her mother, a woman in her 70s wearing too much jewelry, her father, gray-haired and blank-faced, her sister Linda, who'd received all those incriminating text messages. Linda wouldn't look at me. Jury selection took 2 days. By the end, we had 12 jurors and 4 alternates, 7 women, 5 men, ages ranging from mid-20s to late 60s. The judge instructed them on what to expect. "This trial will likely last 2 weeks. You'll hear from multiple witnesses. You'll see extensive documentation. Your job is to determine whether the prosecution has proven its case beyond a reasonable doubt." Opening arguments started on a Thursday. The prosecutor, a woman named Hale with sharp features and sharper suits, laid out the evidence systematically. The defendant is a professional con artist. For over 15 years, she has targeted vulnerable men. She gains their trust, marries them, then she systematically steals from them. In this case, she stole over $300,000. She forged legal documents. She manipulated a child. And when she was caught, she blamed everyone but herself. Hale showed the jury the quitclaim deed, the forged signature, the credit card applications, the offshore bank accounts, the emails to Grant, the texts to her sister. This isn't a crime of passion. It isn't desperation. It's calculated, methodical theft. And the defendant would have gotten away with it if not for a 12-year-old boy who was brave enough to speak up. Vickers' opening was different. Rebecca Harrington is not a con artist. She's a survivor. For 2 years, she lived with a man who controlled every aspect of her life, who monitored her movements, her spending, her friendships. She tried to leave, tried to protect herself financially, and when she did, he used his child as a weapon against her. This case isn't about fraud, it's about revenge. The first week of testimony was brutal. The prosecution called witnesses, banking officials who explained the fraudulent accounts, real estate agents Rebecca had contacted, Grant, who described their relationship and the money he'd given her. Grant's testimony was devastating. He had text messages, photos, voicemails where Rebecca claimed to love him, talked about their future together, mentioned the yoga studio they'd open. Did the defendant ever mention being married? Hale asked. Never. She said she was divorced, that her ex-husband was abusive. Did she mention having a stepson? No. She said she couldn't have kids, that she was fine with that. Vickers tried to shake him on cross-examination. Mr. Collins, how do you know Miss Harrington's marriage was voluntary? How do you know she wasn't trapped? I don't know that, but she never said she was trapped. She said she was divorced. Could she have been afraid to tell the truth? Objection, Hale said. Speculation. Sustained. The prosecution called Kenny, the notary cousin. He testified about Rebecca paying him to notarize the forged deed, how she'd given him a copy of my driver's license, how she'd told him I knew about the transfer. Did you verify the signature? No, Rebecca said it was urgent, that she needed it done quickly. Did she tell you why? She said they were refinancing, that it was part of the paperwork. Did you have any reason to believe she was lying? She's family. I trusted her. Vickers didn't cross-examine him. Smart. His testimony was damning enough without giving him more time to talk. On day 4, Tessa testified, explained how Milo had come to her, how they'd investigated, how they'd worked with Alan to gather evidence. Did you manipulate your son? Vickers asked on cross-examination. No. You didn't coach him? Tell him what to say? I told him to tell the truth, but you helped him access Miss Harrington's private messages. I taught him how technology works. He made the decision to look. A 12-year-old boy made that decision on his own? Yes. You expect this jury to believe that? I expect this jury to look at the evidence. My son didn't forge documents. He didn't steal money. He didn't lie. Rebecca did. On day 5, Milo testified. He wore a button-down shirt and khakis. Looked younger than 12. He was sworn in, asked to state his name for the record. His voice was clear, but quiet. Hale walked him through everything. How Rebecca had treated him. The baseball cards. The overheard phone calls. The birthday party. Why did you access Miss Harrington's messages? Hale asked. Because I knew she was planning something. I could see her looking through my dad's papers. I heard her on the phone talking about money. I wanted to protect him. Were you afraid of Miss Harrington? Sometimes. She was nice when Dad was around. But when he wasn't, she'd say things. What kind of things? That I was in the way. That I was the reason her life was hard. That she wished I'd just go live with my mom permanently. Several jurors looked at Rebecca. She was crying. Real tears this time. Vickers was gentler on cross-examination. Milo, do you love your father? Yes. Would you do anything to protect him? Yes. Even if it meant hurting someone else. I didn't hurt Rebecca. I just told the truth. But you planned this. The birthday party. The airdrop. That was calculated, wasn't it? I wanted everyone to know what she was doing. So you humiliated her in public? I showed people what she'd said. She humiliated herself, the gallery murmured. The judge called for order. After Milo's testimony, the defense called their witnesses. Friends of Rebecca who testified she seemed afraid of me. A therapist who'd seen Rebecca twice and diagnosed her with anxiety and PTSD, though Rebecca had never mentioned our marriage or any abuse. A domestic violence advocate testified about how abused women sometimes engage in financial fraud as a means of escape, that it's a survival mechanism. Hale destroyed her on cross-examination. Miss Rivera, how many women fleeing abuse steal from multiple men over a 15-year period? Every case is different. How many women fleeing abuse maintain secret relationships with other men? I don't have statistics on that. How many women fleeing abuse plan vacations to Costa Rica using stolen money? Again, every case. No, every case. Answer the question. Is that typical behavior for an abuse victim? No. On day 8, Rebecca took the stand. It was a mistake. She started strong, tearful, apologetic, explained how controlling I was, how I monitored her phone, checked her receipts, questioned where she went. I felt like a prisoner, she said. Everything I did was scrutinized. Hale waited. Let Rebecca dig her own grave. Then she pulled out the text messages. Read them aloud. Can't wait until the brat is gone. Hale looked at Rebecca. That's what you said about a 12-year-old child. Does that sound like someone who's afraid? I was venting. It was private. You told your sister that Milo's father, quote, Doesn't suspect a thing. What didn't he suspect? That I was unhappy? Or that you were stealing from him? I wasn't stealing. I was protecting myself. By forging his signature, he would have never agreed to giving you his house? No, Miss Harrington, he wouldn't have, because it's his house, not yours. Hale showed emails. The ones to Grant where Rebecca called me pathetic. The ones to her sister where she discussed draining my accounts and disappearing. This isn't protection, Hale said. This is theft. This is fraud. This is a con artist getting caught. Rebecca broke down, started screaming. He turned my stepson against me. He's doing this because I wanted to leave, because I wasn't good enough for his perfect little family. The judge banged his gavel. Miss Harrington, you will control yourself. He's a liar. They're all liars. That kid is a manipulative little psychopath and you're all falling for it. The courtroom erupted. Jurors looked horrified. Rebecca's lawyer tried to calm her down. The judge called a recess. When we reconvened, Rebecca was visibly shaking. Her lawyer attempted damage control, but it was too late. The jury had seen the mask slip. Closing arguments were on day 9. Hale was methodical. The evidence is overwhelming. The defendant forged documents, stole money, lied repeatedly. And when caught, she blamed a child. This isn't complicated. This is crime. And the defendant deserves to be held accountable. Vickers tried. This is a woman who made mistakes, who was desperate, who feared for her safety. Yes, she broke laws. But consider why. Consider the circumstances. Consider that sometimes survival requires difficult choices. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. When they came back, the foreperson was a woman in her 60s. She looked at Rebecca without expression. On the count of forgery in the first degree, we find the defendant guilty. Rebecca's mother sobbed. On the count of identity theft, guilty. On the count of grand theft, guilty. On the count of fraud, guilty. 8 counts total, guilty on all of them. Sentencing was scheduled for 3 weeks later. Rebecca was remanded back into custody. As she was let out, she looked at Milo one last time. You destroyed my life, she said. No, Milo replied. You did that yourself. The day of sentencing arrived. The courtroom was packed. Victims were allowed to give impact statements. Grant went first. Talked about the financial damage, the emotional toll, how he'd struggled to trust again. Then me. I explained what Rebecca had done to Milo, how she'd isolated him, made him feel unwanted, tried to steal his father's house out from under him. This wasn't just financial crime. She traumatized a child, and she'd do it again if given the chance. The judge listened, reviewed the pre-sentencing report, looked at Rebecca. Miss Harrington, you've shown no remorse. You've blamed everyone but yourself. You've demonstrated sophisticated criminal behavior spanning years. The court sees no reason to show leniency. She sentenced Rebecca to 8 years in state prison, ordered full restitution to all victims, lifetime prohibition from working in finance or real estate. Rebecca's appeal was denied 6 months later. Life slowly returned to normal. I went back to work. Milo started 7th grade at a different school, one where nobody knew our story. Tessa and I had family dinners again. Awkward at first, but we found a rhythm. Alan came too sometimes. Their daughter, Milo's half-sister, joined us. She was 4 and thought Milo was the coolest person alive. Grant and I stayed in touch. Not friends exactly, but something like it. People who'd survived the same storm. A year after the trial, a reporter called. Said Rebecca was writing a book from prison, a memoir about how the justice system failed her, how she was the real victim. I hung up without commenting. Milo turned 13. We had a party, just family and a few close friends, pizza and arcade games. No fancy restaurant, no speeches, just kids being kids. He got a Nintendo Switch and a framed set of his grandfather's baseball cards. The police had returned them after the trial. Turned out they were worth $15,000. Grandpa had known what he had all along. You want to sell them? I asked. No, they're mine. We hung them in the living room, a reminder of what Rebecca had tried to take and failed.